Hey, how's it going, guys? Today I wanted to go over Ike builds with you guys. I have a unique one that I made myself. I don't know if it exists out there yet, but I did come up with it myself. I didn't see it on anyone else's Ike before mine. I also wanted to go over a budget build because I know a lot of people just got them from the heroes path. So I kind of wanted to show how you just use them if you're new. And you just want to use them for arena assault, and you don't really want to make the plus 10 or anything like that. So this is the budget Ike build that I have. We're going to use my Ike as a reference point for the skills. So it used to be Irvine was just a accelerated special trigger, meaning Aether was normally a 5 cooldown special. It would be reduced to 4, and any other special you'd use. And then the new part of it is it reduces the damage from the first move by 40%, and every attack after that second move onwards is reduced by 80%. And if the foe has the ability to double you, they will automatically double you. And what's nice about that is the fact that when they double you, if you have a steady breath or any kind of a breath skill, you'll be able to immediately activate Aether through them. So it starts at 4. If they hit you once, it becomes a 2 special. And then if they attack you another time, it becomes activated. And then that's when you attack. And this helps his sustainability. This helps him survive over long periods of time in battle. It's a really great weapon refine. And it really makes him one of the best units in the game now. So you have distant defense here because it helps you survive ranged units a little bit better. With a base build, you could make that close defense for 6 extra defense on the enemy phase, and that's fine if you just want them to just do physical units and you don't want them to really fight any magical units. And that's really the best for the base build. I mean, there's really not much else to do there. That's the cheapest option that keeps them really good. But these next options we're going to go over are very specific. So these would be more akin to being on Aether Raids. So actually the one you see on the right does have 2 airs added to him. That's why his stats are a lot higher. Specifically his HP and res are 10 higher than the one on the left. Just ignore that. That's not important. What you're really looking at is the shield pulse, which automatically activates both of their specials. The one on the left has Pavis, and if you look at the middle like here, Pavis reduces the damage from melee attacks by 50%. Irvine reduces it by another 40%, and essentially that reduces it by 90%. And then the second hit onwards, of course, is 80%. So you're going to be easily tanking just about any melee move in the entire game. And then on the opposite side, on the right, you have Aegis, which does essentially the exact same thing except it's ranged units. And that'll help you survive magic users. And originally, that's the original build I went with Ike, because I thought, he has pretty good defense to begin with, so I really just want him to be able to tank magic better. But what I noticed was kind of annoying with these two builds is you have no way of healing, so he can't self-sustain himself like you saw in the base build. He also doesn't have that special cooldown with steady breath, so this makes it harder for him to get back to activating some specials. Not really these, because they're already pretty low to begin with, and quick riposte just helps reactivate them. Really the reason and the flaw to these is healing. Now with Aether Raids there's a certain amount of turns, so having them do specific things and tank specific units would make them perfect for Aether Raids, but for all other game modes in this game, I don't feel like these really serve a great purpose as much as these next 2 builds will. So this next build is the one that most people use. It's basically the base build, except you swapped out the quick riposte in the B slot and put it in the seal slot and replaced it with Null Sea Disrupt. And this comes from an exclusive 5-star, of course, which is why it's not budget. But essentially what Null Sea Disrupt does is, I actually don't have it on Ike. I do have it on my Corrin, and I'll do this just so you guys can see it really quick. So what Null C Disrupt does is it says neutralizes effects that prevent units counterattack during combat. So things like firesweep weapons and things where you can't counterattack them, this allows you to do that. And that essentially makes it to where Ike is never in a weird position where he can't counterattack the other unit that's attacking him. And I mean, this is a great build. Don't get me wrong, you could definitely use this build and do really, really well. But upon researching it, I wanted to try to find a build that was better. And I felt like I really did. And so that's what I'm going to show off next. This is my build. Essentially the exact same thing. The only difference being that I swapped out the B skill. That's not the right one. I swapped out the B skill, and so basically what this does, on the left is the base build, like the build I have at +0, just so I can explain what's going on here. So essentially, the reason I picked this skill is because it inflicts attack and defense -3 on foe, and neutralizes the bonuses to their attack and defense during combat. So if they get danced by like a Zura and get +6 to all stats, when they attack Ike, they lose that +6 to attack and defense when they're attacking him. Now essentially what this does is it gives him another 3 to both defenses, because you're lowering their attack by 3. And then you also get a buff 3 attack because you're lowering their defense by 3, and that's where you're going to attack in their defense. So that's why there's blue there, because it's indicating that those are the stats that are being boosted by low attack defense during combat. And then if you want to make them even better, you pair them with Lucina, and I can show you guys Lucina because I actually used some orbs to get her, and I'm really glad I did because she makes Ike absolutely incredible. So essentially what it does is if you are a sword, lance, axe, bow, dagger, or beast unit, and you're within 2 spaces of Lucina, she grants you +3 to all of your stats, which is amazing. But what she also does is she has a steady breath effect. Or not a steady breath effect, but a breath effect. So you will be getting the Aethers faster. Just like what you did with the steady breath. And this helps him sustain way better. He's getting the +3 to all stats on top of the low attack defense, which makes him an absolute monster of a tank. And then if you look at her B skill, I also have Defense Reslink, which is easy to get because we did get a budget unit with that on him at 4-star. I think it was Sigrun or whatever. And that gives another +6 to both defenses. And then you also can put drives on her. So I put drive for res and drive for defense. So essentially, I couldn't show you because the unit builder would not let me put that many buffs on Ike. But essentially, this is the final build, and that's the stat spread that he has when he has all of her buffs. And that also includes her being his ally unit, because if they are within a space of each other, which is where she'll shove him when she gives him defense reslink, he'll get that extra +1. So essentially, he's getting +1 because they're paired allies. He's getting +3 to all stats because of her weapon. And then he's getting another +3 to both defenses because of her drives, and then getting 6 defense because of defense and reslink, which essentially gives him +15 in both defenses. So really, that defense stat would be 58, and his res stat would be 53. And the light blessing, he's with 2 airs. That's otherwise his attack would his HP would be 57, and his res would be 39. So if you're wondering why those are so high, that's why. So that is the build, and it really wouldn't be the full thing without showing you it in action. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to this Abyssal, and we're going to solo it with him. And the reason I picked those one is not just because Lucina is blue and that makes it easy to win. It's because this is one of the ones that's easier to get him on his own so he can fight everyone and they can't snipe the people in the back, because a lot of these, they like to spawn people in the back. So I'm just going to show you guys how crazy he can be. We have a red mage here with 51 attack and 75 HP, which is kind of like one of the things you'd think would be able to kill Ike. So I wanted to kind of show some of the, more prevalent enemies that would normally be a threat to him and how well this build does against those. And we'll turn the volume up a little bit here so you can listen to the voice lines, get the full effect.
Your orders.
And we'll just let Marth and Alm back here just chill in the back. And then what you saw right there was the attack smoke going into effect. So essentially, I just dropped all their attack by 7. So if you really want to get into the specifics, you can, that defense that I told you before, you can add another 7 to that if you get the attack smoke off.
It ends here. Thanks to all.
Alright, so we're going to move Lucina back.
What's next?
Understood.
She's still going to give Ike the buffs, but she's not going to give him the +6 to both defenses like she did before. But as you can see, that won't really make too much of a difference to the end result.
With gratitude.
The mage got a little bit closer there, but as you can see, the defenses are just crazy high.
I will defeat you.
And we're also eliminating any attack buffs that they get with the lull attack defense.
Huh? With gratitude.
Alright, so we're going to move Marth and Alm because now they're getting into range. And we're going to pull him back. We're going to give him the shove. And I guess I didn't show this before, so I'll show it here. He does get the +6 to both those defenses. And then he does get those extra 6 to everything, but you don't see those because those are in combat buffs. So we're going to let him tank this flying axe unit real quick.
Thanks to all.
As you can see, the Aethers are coming very quickly, and it really helps him stay alive. As opposed to if he was on his own, this would be very different.
With gratitude.
You can see he can maintain that max HP because he keeps getting those Aethers so often.
It ends here.
But as you can also see, not a lot of these units are doing much damage to him. It's really just the red units that actually can do some damage to him. One of his biggest weaknesses is red dragons. But the other cool thing about Lucina being his partner is she has effective against dragons, and she's blue. So she actually takes out his biggest weakness if it becomes a problem. But in my battles so far, I haven't had any red dragons really actually become a problem. So, but that's just something to keep in mind.
A solid move together.
So we're going to put him in the corner here, and we're going to allow Ike to attack Lucina, because otherwise she was going to take out somebody in the back.
Let's settle this.
It ends here. Thanks to all.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to have Ike go back, and then we're just going to shove him back into battle. But what you're going to see here is him actually fight the red dragon, and that's really the important part of this. The red dragon and the red mage. Everyone else is pretty much an easy kill. but those are the two that are important because those are the two that he would normally be extremely weak against. Also, if you ever find yourself in a situation and with these two units that they had like panic and Ike wasn't at full HP, you don't have to shove him and get the defense res link boost. You can just get the in combat buffs and not be afraid of being panicked and getting -6 to both defenses.
Thanks to all.
Because as long as Lucina is one space away, you'll still be getting that special reduction cooldown.
I will defeat you.
Alright, and then we're just gonna shove him right back in there.
Understood.
Orders?
Now, I could attack him, but more often than not, you'll want to enemy phase these units with Ike and not so much attack them. But it is possible to attack them in some situations, especially if they're like half health or low on HP. You can just take them out real quick. But most of the time, you're going to be wanting to enemy phase.
It ends here. With gratitude. With gratitude.
So since this is basically a done deal at this point, what I wanted to show you is if I go over here with Ike on his own,
It's all for you.
you see that he only hits once and he does 38 damage. But if I put Lucina
What's
over
next?
here and then
Orders?
do the attack, now he doubles. Because Lucina can really be the difference between hitting someone once and doubling them. And this greatly increases his player phase, because you definitely want to double if you're going to attack. And if you're going to attack on player phase, you want to make sure that you defeat them. Otherwise, you just want to do an enemy phase on them and let them attack you. So don't really player phase unless you intend on actually taking out the other opposing unit. Alright, so that was the showcase of him, doing an Abyssal. One of the other things I wanted to mention is Ike is coming back for the weekly revival banners. That's when I got him. It took me about, I want to say like 420 orbs to get 6 of him. So the value is really good there because it is a 4% banner. Now, they just came out with week 1, so it's going to be a long time because the one I summoned on was the second to last one in like week 18, I think it was. And on that banner, both of these units will be on it. So in case you really like these units and you're watching this video within the time frame of a couple of weeks from now, you'll be able to actually summon these units, which is kind of cool. That's one of the reasons I wanted to put this video out so that people could summon for him if they really wanted to and start saving up. Because I really wanted to show how powerful Ike can become with Lucina's aid. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I look forward to more videos. I'll be coming out with a lot more here in the near future. And let me know in the comments what you thought about the Ike build and what you think I could do for future videos. All right, see you guys later.